What's popping in the streets, everybody? I believe, therefore, I'm KingSylar. Hope you're doing all right today. It's been a hot minute since we've had a trending topic or one that I definitely wanted to speak on directly. But I do think this one is pretty critical, and obviously, usually these are topics that obviously involve the dance community. And as you've seen lately, or if you follow me on social media or this channel right here, a lot of what I do speak out is in regards to what we can do to develop our community and how we can keep it alive and keep it thriving. Please be on the lookout. The next video I do drop will be in regards directly at DJs in the dance scene. So I think that's a very, very important topic to drop. So brace yourselves. So yeah, so the thing that I wanted to talk about today, and obviously that you can see right here at the top of the title, is how do you stay in the community? Now, obviously, when I say stay in the community, I mean literally stay in the community. And I know the conversation does come up a lot that, you know, a lot of dancers, whenever they have their happy phase, obviously we go through, you know, up into your, probably I'd say from about like maybe 17 to about 23 or 24. You know, people enjoy that rush, that youth of as far as like, oh, I'm going to dance, you know, I'm going to get better, I'm going to travel, I'm going to do all these things. Like, you're still finding yourself, if we're being honest. But realistically speaking, as we compare it in life, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing, if we're being real. Like, between that time period, you have no idea who you want to be. And if you are, you're definitely not in the dance scene, if we're just being completely transparent, or unless you're fully aware that, you know, hey, you want to go into the industry or whatever the case may be. But usually, you know, this is directed at dance, but you don't really know what you want to do in life at that point because it's not cemented unless you're already on the track to doing it. And then, of course, between like 25 until about 30 and stuff like that, that's when it's like you're kind of enjoying that competitive stage. Like, you're doing this, you're aware of like what you're doing in the dance scene, competing, you're traveling. You kind of know what you're doing at that point. You should be pretty experienced in whatever field of dance or artistry that you're in at that point. So, you know. But then around 30, maybe, I'll be nice. I'll say probably like 28, 29, realistically speaking, to about 35. That's usually when a lot of people drop out. And I would say I notice that because, just being realistic, I see it in my own community on a regular basis. Most people, it's for a variety of reasons, whether it be financial, whether it be, again, like I said, people figure out what it is they want to do in life. They want to change career paths, they move, they fall out of love with dance, they fall out of love with people in the dance scene, so therefore they leave, which is a very real thing, and probably the number one killer that I've seen for people whenever they leave the dance scene is that they simply don't rock with a particular group of people anymore, or a relationship falls through, so on and so forth. It's always circled around people, and so they dip out. And I think that's a really big problem. Don't ever, ever directly connect your love for dance with somebody else. The moment that you do that, you basically put a life sentence or a death sentence on your own craft, okay? Dance because you want to. But we've just seen that over time, you know, and I've always told people that you don't have to be directly leading the dance scene or directly like hands-on in the dance scene just to stay around. Because the moment that we all decide that, hey, I'm only going to stay in the dance scene because of I'm not actively doing something in the community just simply just shows that, one, in my personal opinion, it's kind of selfish. And then two, you're killing your movement. And you're not really necessarily creating community. You're just simply creating, dare I say, I don't know, like basically just like a stage in people's lives and stuff like that. The community is not actually a community. It's supposed to be people and information coming in, you know, and then staying here. Maybe not necessarily being directly in the center, but sometimes you can still live on the outskirts of that community, so to speak. But I wanted to give some people some ideas in how you can directly stay in the community and how it keeps the community alive. Because remember, the community was brought together by the culture, and the culture doesn't exist without the community. So neither one can survive. So this is always a situation where people are coming into the dance scene and they're just like, oh, I'm done with it, and they just completely dip out and they never come back. Understand all the information and knowledge that you have that you got in the beginning, maybe from some OG or veteran that's no longer here anymore, all their teachings and stuff like that. If you take that and you don't pass it on and you just dip out because you're done with it, you're doing a disservice to your community and the people within it, and the culture itself. Don't be selfish with information and knowledge. It's very important that you pass that on. And again, even if you cannot directly be involved, or if you find something else that you want to do in life, still come around and associate. You have no idea the impact that just simply the community seeing your face has on the community as a whole. So here's some simple tips and ideas in how you can stay involved with your community if you are not actively competing or dancing. Let's start with simple things. The most obvious, create an event. Now, I see this all the time. Obviously, not everybody still has a bug to compete and stuff like that. I'm about to be 34 years old in 22 days. Oh, I'm sorry, 12. About 16 days. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get your boy a birthday gift. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. But not everybody has that bug anymore. Sometimes, you know, their drive just simply to compete in battle just dies down. And maybe you just want to create a space for some people to just simply come and dance. You can do that. You know, create, you know, a session or something like that. Actively, you know, go out and buy equipment, speaker, DJ booth, whatever the case may be, something, you know, create a space, a session or an event, or a dance night, whatever the case may be, anything that you want, like create a space to where people can actively dance, even if you don't want to compete. That's one thing that you take off the shoulders of responsibility of the active leaders that are still in the community, like myself. Just being realistic. Hey, if we actively had events, a variety of events, a variety of sessions, and a variety of classes on a regular basis, I personally think that the DFW scene would be much stronger than what it is right now. But unfortunately, collectively, as I've told people, I've kind of put into it's like the rule of one. Like we kind of low-key have like one thing in DFW on a consistent basis, and that's something we've got to get away from. But we're working on it. So that's just one way that you can help your scene. Create events, sessions, environments where simply people can come and dance. Simple. DJ. Hey, listen, in my personal opinion, I think next to throwing events and sessioning, I think DJing would be the next best thing for dancers, because you know the type of music that you want to hear and you know the type of music that you don't want to hear. Now, I'm not saying that everybody and their mama is going to be able to do it. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, that it is important for people who are actively involved in the scene, on the battlefield, in the trenches, battling for supremacy. Those are the people who, in my personal opinion, are going to be best equipped to hear what works in battle environments, in dance environments, sessions, labs, so on and so forth. It is a terrible idea, in my personal opinion, for people who have never been dancers or who've never at least actively been involved with the dance scene to just simply jump into like, oh, I'm just going to be a DJ. And I mean specifically like people you've never been, like, okay, if you've never been in ciphers, if you've never been around, you know, dancers, if you've never been around a variety of choreographers, artists, musicians, like, you know, so on. Well, not musicians, but I'll more say rappers and stuff like that. Like if you've never been around street culture for an extended period of time, or hip hop, I guess for lack of better words, then it would be a terrible idea for that person to just simply hop in and, you know, become a DJ and stuff like that. That's just stupid. Example, I don't know, a person who's been playing football for, you know, I don't know, 26 years and stuff like that, turn 27 and say, oh, I want to be a DJ because one of my friend dances and stuff like that. And I've always liked DJing. And then, you know, I think it'd be really dope if I start DJing these sessions and jams and stuff like that just because you like it. No, that's a terrible idea. If you've not actively been involved with the street style culture or the hip hop scene or the crunk scene or the popping scene or any of these other competitive spaces, then you do not need to be a DJ. And that's precisely why it would be a great idea for dancers who are retired or who are taking a break off of dancing on a consistent basis, why it'd be a good idea for them to be DJs. Okay. Third, produce or create music. Now I understand that this one is it's just an extended process as dancing is, because it takes time to develop your own sound, to develop knowledge for yourself, but on how to create music. But I think it's important. And I'm not saying that, I guess like kind of, and I do know in this day and age, like one thing that I've definitely noticed, this generation doesn't like original versions of a lot of things. Like they like remade versions or remixes to everything. Like they'll dismiss the originals and stuff like that. Like I've seen it a million times. Like I've heard Earth, Wind and Fire to like the trap music and stuff like that. I've heard Usher to Light Feet and stuff like that. Like it's just like a variety, or like 808s and stuff like that. They won't listen to any of these people in their regular songs, but they'll go back way in time and get Aretha Franklin and put it on like, some hip hop beat, like, some trap beat or something like that, which is crazy to me, because it's like, yo, like I get it. You clearly like the vocals here. You just don't like the beat that goes to it, but you'll dismiss like the original aesthetic or the original flavor of the track. Like that's crazy to me. But I do think it's important, like, hey, like we need to have a variety of people making lots of music, so therefore it keeps serving as motivation to the dancers. So I'm not just saying it just simply needs to be one thing, and I don't want people to, Sylar, you only want to listen to old and funk and thinking that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we need a variety of things. I personally have no qualms with the music that's being put out today. Nah, I'm lying. A lot of the music that's put out today is not as good as it used to be, because obviously this generation doesn't value the same things that some of the older generations did. And I get it. It's just with the times. The youth is always going to be in front of the masses. The media is going to put out, and all these businesses and corporations are always going to put out what's most popular. I dig it. But I still think that it's important that we still acknowledge what was before without dismissing what's out right now. So, yeah, we definitely need more producers making a variety of music. That's just me personally. So we can get some quality shit out there. And then teaching in schools and colleges. Not just obvious, the most obvious thing when people hear like, teach, like, yeah, I'm gonna run to a studio. That's cool, don't get me wrong. Like, hey, teaching in studios is great. But I also know that it's something that you can kind of do in your early 20s as well, if you're experienced enough. And hey, you can still teach well into your 30s and 40s or whatever case may be. Hey, if you got the drive, you're doing it, then by all means, go for it. Teaching is great. But if you have the ability to teach in schools and colleges and stuff like that, where you're really getting to the masses, because again, there's like a very, very small percentage of people in the dance scene who are actually going to commit to learning these styles of dance and the cultures and being involved in the community. But if you go out, there's a lot more kids out there in colleges and stuff like that. So imagine the impact that you can have on people that are in the dance scene, educating them, versus the impact that you would have on people who are in college who are not actually dancing. Astronomically different. So again, if you have the ability, hey, go teach in these colleges and schools. Go teach sixth graders or whatever the case may be how to dance. Re-educate the youth, okay? Constantly. Simple as that. Another way, get into the medical field. Become a chiropractor, a physical therapist. Like any of these things will definitely help. Nobody understands dancers' bodies than dancers who went into the medical field. Period. Be on the lookout. I recently went to go see the homie Vinay for a checkup. It's not a checkup, but as far as did some trigger point therapy, did some adjusting. There's a lot of technical terms that I'm not familiar with, but whenever the video drops, you'll definitely be able to see what I'm talking about. But same thing as well. Like being in the medical field, teaching dancers how they can maintain their wellness and their health on a consistent basis is so important. We truly underestimate like how much stress we put our bodies under until it's too late. So it's very, very, very important that we be mindful of like what we're doing with our bodies and how we're handling them. So to do that, it would be nice to have ex-dancers who are familiar, like, oh, I feel this kind of twinge in the lower half of like my calf and stuff like that. But, you know, when I put pressure on it, doesn't hurt, but when I'm sitting down, it throbs, you know, so on and so forth. We're artists, and I do think that we do a lot of things that involve a lot of athleticism and stuff like that, but we'll never be given the fair shake as far as like these pro athletes and stuff like that, because again, our art form doesn't produce revenue the same way that these athletes do. So it's very, very important that we have people that are in the medical field who understand the struggles that we go through, and just simply keeping our bodies well, like it's just one thing that we can check off the list when it comes to our woes, when it comes to being involved in as an artist and as a dancer. So yeah, become an agent for an upcoming artist. Help dancers further their careers. Simple. It's not complex. Dancers need help. They need to be told where to go, what works for them and stuff like that. Especially I know for the freestylers, because obviously being backup dancers and being you know involved in the choreography scene, it's kind of like a pretty straight path when you think about it. You know, hey, you've already got the tools to do what you want, you know, but again, not saying that it's always the case, but every freestyler is not going to be able to get on a show or go on tour and stuff like that, because again, they're still going to want you to do choreography. But what happens when that's not what you want to do? Where can you go in there? Can I get in commercials? Can I be on TV shows? Can I get in movies? Whatever the case may be. Talent agent, it's that simple. Help dancers figure out where they want to go. Both of them, choreography and freestyle and ballroom, so on and so forth. It just simply helps. And then obviously the most important, support. That simple. And the things that are free, obviously, that take no work at all. Meaning show up. Come to events. You don't have to dance. You don't have to compete. Just show up. Communicate. Talk to people. Talk to the next generation. Talk to maybe not even the generation that's 3 steps below you, but like talk to the people that are right under you. You know, give them some positive reinforcement. Help them build what they're already trying to build. Maybe you have an answer to a problem that they're going through right now. Realistically speaking, that's what veterans and OGs are supposed to do. You're not supposed to be in the limelight. You're not supposed to be the most important person. It's the people that are directly under you. Realistically speaking, the stars should be the people from, in my personal opinion, should be the people from 25 to 35. Everybody else after that, or at least above 30 and stuff like that, should be focused on helping the next generation. I'm not saying that you can't further your career or you can't be great, you can't compete or be the best that you possibly can. But I do think that there's a certain level of giving back that you should be obligated to do after a particular point. Just saying, there's a lot of information and a lot of skill sets and a lot of experiences you've accumulated up to this point. Your one experience could help 5 other people. 5 turns into 10, 10 turns into 20. You see where I'm going with this. It's that easy. And all those issues that you went through at the age of 35, they're now fixed and avoided by 2 generations behind you by the time these kids are 18 years old. Give it back. And then a big one, appreciate. This is one that I definitely had to learn later, because like I said, I'm 34. I didn't learn this really until I was probably about 31, maybe between 30 and 31. Appreciate and respect. Just simply because you don't do things a particular way doesn't mean that you have to bash the person who's actively doing it. It's okay. Everything doesn't always have to be your way. But appreciate the fact that someone is making a genuine attempt to keep the community, the culture, and your legacy alive. Because you came up through this exact same road that some of these other cats did. It's okay. Again, it doesn't always have to be your way. But appreciate the fact that someone is making a genuine attempt to keep what you help build and grow alive. Very simple. Those are 3 most important parts. Support, show up, communicate, and appreciate and respect. It's that easy. Those are just some simple ways, guys, and how you can stay in the community without having to actively dance or compete and stuff like that. And just take the time out to think about it. What do you have to offer? If your dance was taken away from you right now today, what would you offer the community? Whatever answer you come up with, maybe you should start nurturing that right now. So just in case something does happen, got a fallback plan. I did. So that's all I got, guys. But make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification anytime that some new content drops. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and happiness. Later.